today?
Great. Awesome.
Do you believe them? Because like at this present moment, okay, let's try this one more time, because I have a very important question that's going to follow this. How are you today? Now, the question is, are you lying? Now, don't answer, because I know you're not lying to me, but is there ever a time that you are asked, how are you today? And sometimes we know that sometimes people don't even answer. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you? You didn't answer when I asked you how you are. So how are you? I'm fine. How are you? Like, we don't answer the question. And is that because we've gotten to this place of being so numb that we don't like the contact? So we don't really connect with folks and actually answer the question? Or do we not want to open up and let people really know how we really feel? And that could be a good thing. Like, it could be, I feel phenomenal. Because I know that when I'm walking through D.C. and people say, hey, Ray, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you today? If I let this out, I'm going to get a look. I've gotten to the point that I don't care. But it took me a moment to get to the point of being allowed to be fantastic, to be great, to be happy. So, just think for a second. Do you lie to others or to yourself about how you're feeling? Just think about, marinate on that for a second. And maybe not lie, but maybe it's simply, I'm not as honest as I could be. Because to truly open up means I have to be vulnerable. To truly go there, I have to be willing to be someone or something that I may not have been before. Now, today, one of the things we're talking about is this concept of if I had a hammer. Now, if anyone is my age or older, you probably know the original song. And for those of you who are younger than 25, no, younger than 51, you may not know. So let me give you a little smidget of it, right? So don't make fun of my smidget. So the song says, if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger. I'd hammer out a warning. I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning. I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger. I'd ring out a warning. I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. And then it goes on. Now, the point being, principle number 5 of unity says, it is not enough to know the principles by which we are living, by which we say we are studying, but we must become a living demonstration of those principles. We must walk the walk of those principles. We must be that which we say we are in how we interact with people, in how we go about our regular everyday lives. Because if we are not, then principle number 5 becomes merely a theory. Now, let's backtrack. As we end Black History Month, there's a lot of stuff that the magic of Facebook shares. So this amazing movie was recently released called Black Panther, and there's a lot of stuff connected to that. And then someone who I'm not sure if they want me to say who they are, so I'm not, but they shared with me that they recently saw this very strange film called Get Out. Has anyone seen it? Okay. It's a very Twilight Zone kind of LSD kind of, what is this movie about kind of thing, right? Now, I mention this because there are many things going on in this world, correct? Some of them not so good feeling. Now, I say specifically not so good feeling because we say God is all there is and God is good. So that means everything on some level has to be good, whether we recognize it or not. Whether we have the spiritual eyesight to see it or not, doesn't matter. What matters is that on some level we know that there is a principle that is good. Now, the question is, when we see something that is not resonating with that principle, how do we take this and apply it to that? How do we take what we are learning in New Thought and apply it to those not so good things that happen in life? How do we take this and walk the walk? How do we, as, to quote Emilie Cady, Emilie Cady this time. Emilie Cady said, "Our spoken word first hammers a thing desired into shape. Our continued spoken word brings this shape, substance forth, and clothes it with a visible body." Got that? Got it. Somebody else said, you can tell me who this is, if you know. Christian metaphysicians have discovered that man or woman can greatly accelerate the growth of himself or herself of the Christ mind by using affirmations that identify them with the Christ. The spiritual man is clothed by the aspirations, the thoughts, and the acts of the natural or physical man. By faith, prayer, meditation, and inward resolutions, man identifies himself with the spiritual man and forms in both mind and body the things affirmed. There was no visible evidence of Jesus' unity with the Father when he affirmed, "I and the Father are one." His disciples said, "Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us." So we find that we must be true to our ideas and clothe them with an assumption of their tangibility, even before they have appeared. We must pray believing that we have received, and we shall receive. States of mind established in the consciousness gather to themselves the vitamins, the cells, the nerves, the muscles, the flesh itself. To see oneself in mind spiritually courageous, strong, and healthy will instill health in the primal elements of the organism, which in due season will work to the surface of a perfect body. Are we speaking with a power that in the same way a blacksmith forms, structures, hammers, and creates? Now, let me backtrack. Any concept of blacksmith? You know what a blacksmith is, right? Okay. Does a blacksmith make stuff just for themselves to hoard stuff? Blacksmith makes things to then give out, to be of service. In fact, one of the possible etymological explanations of the smith part is one who hammers out, or potentially one who serves. So a blacksmith is hammering out and serving, building things for the community. But so are we. Emilie Cady said, our words are hammering out. So the words that we are speaking are either serving or a disservice to this world. We are either building things that are usable, so someone makes a horseshoe and it's a complete circle or a complete square. It's not useful for any horse that I've ever seen. But if that is what the person is hammering out, it cannot be used. Or if put on the horse, it could possibly be to the horse's detriment. Our words are either being useful or disuseful. We are either healing or cursing. It says in Scripture somewhere that you have life and death in the power of your tongue. We are either speaking a blessing or speaking a curse in everything that comes out of this. Everything. This gentleman by the name of Yeshua said, the thief comes to steal, to slaughter, to destroy. But I have come to give life, that ye may have it abundantly. Now, one word in there I want to pick out. That ye may. May have. Didn't say will. Yeshua was wise enough to know that humans are going to occasionally choose not to experience abundance, prosperity, joy, love, magnificence beyond measure. That there are going to be times when for whatever that is, we are going to choose the power of that negative story to be what's determining and dictating our lives. But at any moment, we can change that. There's a book that I mentioned, I don't remember when I mentioned it, but I know somebody in here told me that they already got it. It's called Blessed Are the Weird. I didn't write the book. I'm just telling you the name. Blessed Are the Weird, a manifesto for creatives. And at the top of chapter 4, Jacob says, writers are magicians. Right? Writers are magicians. But check this out. Writers are using words. Therefore, anyone who is using words in whatever form they are being expressed is writing. One of the things I said Friday night class to the folks that gather at the house is, if you were to go to someone that you care about deeply and tell them, I hate you, I never want to see you again, do you think that would hurt them? And then if you turn around and say, no, I'm just joking. But it left a mark already. Because words have power. Now imagine what we say to ourselves with every thought that we think. How often do we think very similar things of, I don't like myself, or even I hate myself. I'm no good at this. I'm no good at that. And with every stroke of a thought, we are writing a story. Either a continuation of some other story, or a new story. Every single one of us has one. A long time ago, I don't remember if it was Old Man Bush or Younger Bush, but one of their dogs wrote a book. Old Man Bush, thank you, Rita. Old Man Bush, their dog, wrote a book that was on the New York Times bestseller list. Everyone has a story. Everyone. Question is, what story are you telling? And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be like we heard in the reading. Hello, my name is Ray. Is this thing on? Hello, my name is Ray. Welcome, Ray. I'm a recovering foodaholic. I eat for comfort when I'm hurt. Welcome, Ray. Like, it doesn't have to be that, and that's the truth, because it hurt my feelings when watching me grab a donut. Just saying, there are moments. Now, granted, I meditate and I pray, so I abstain more often than not. But the only way I could have gotten up to 300 and some pounds was because eating those feelings. But I say that we don't all stand before a group of people and say, this is my thing. Like, I have this going on in my family. I was abused. I was beaten. You don't have to stand up and tell people that. How you show up tells people that. The very manner in which you stand and are present in this body tells people that you believe you are divine or you believe you're a disgrace. The way you move and walk tells people that person has confidence. That one doesn't. Someone did, I don't remember who it was, someone on some cable station or whatever did a thing many years ago where they interviewed people on the corner and said, see that person walking? What are your first thoughts about that person? Just from how they're walking across the street in Manhattan, what are your thoughts about that person? Oh, she seems to be very confident. Just the way she holds her head and the way she walks, and she gives direct eye contact, like all these things. How are you living and moving and having your beingness? And see, the more important thing, when you get to this place of recognition, where you can say, I'm not as happy as I want to be. I come to Unity by the Bay, and all these people, they seem all happy and chip, yeehaw! Like they seem all, I don't get it. I don't feel it. I want to feel it, but I don't. And I want to. Right? You want to feel joy. You want to feel love. You want to feel how magnificent you truly are. I can guarantee you that even when I run across people in coaching or whatever, and I push, because that's my job. I push. And I push them to the edge just to the edge. When I know they can fly, then I push them over. But until I know that they're ready to fly, I push them to the edge. Because, like Robin Williams in A Dead Poets Society, I want them to get on the desk and see the world from a completely different perspective. Because the moment they get there, they challenge back, they fight back, and they'll say things like, is it really possible for me to be that happy? Can anyone ever really be that happy? I mean, isn't that like Pollyanna-ish? Yeah, it is, and it's real, and I don't care. Because you can be happy. Happy doesn't mean walking around with your head in the clouds like, everything is fine. It's all perfect. There's only God. Amen. Like that's nonsense. It's called metaphysical malpractice or spiritual bypass. That's nonsense. Happy is my being able to go to my brother's funeral and still have a sense of peace. Because I know that that's not him in the box. Because I know that there's this infinite power that is still, ever was, ever will be alive. So he, being it, lives on. And standing in that, knowing that I'm grieving, yet happy. That I'm able to serve and be of comfort to others while being happy. Standing in a place of joy, in a place of gratitude. So I know that it's possible. But each of us has to get to a place where we have this realization of, where am I? Like for real, for real. When I was a Baptist, it was what we would call a come to Jesus moment. Where you, I've taken all that I can take. I'm ready to explode. And when you get to that place and you are ready or willing to explore the possibility that you are greater than you can imagine, that you are smarter than any teacher or parent has ever told you, that you cannot sin, you are not a sinner, that you are worthy no matter what anyone says. That when you step into that and clothe yourself in the garment of truth that knows that you are love made flesh, then every step you take, you bless it as you move. Now let's pretend, let's envision, come with me for a second on this one. Imagine that you had like ink pads on the soles of your feet and ink pads on your hands, right? And let's imagine from Sunday to Saturday, look at everywhere you went, because we can follow your footprints. We can see everything you touched. You picked this up at Giant, I don't want that one. You put it back, but you left your vibrational mark on it. Everywhere you go, you leave an energetic mark. With this step, am I leaving hate? Am I leaving fear? Am I leaving despair and depression with each of these steps? Or am I reaching for this and saying, it's not what I want, but I bless whoever gets it? So that everything, everywhere you go, literally, physically, metaphysically, you become the energetic contagion of love. So that all of the debates and stuff that we have about politics and about guns and all of this becomes a moot point. Because for me, once you reach a certain level of spirituality, there should be nothing that you can't discuss. But see, we still have this thing where there's certain things, you don't talk about that. It's only because there's still some feelings in here that we're not ready to give up. And the moment I put that out there and someone's like, whatever, it's like, you just knocked my heart down and I got to, it's back in there. But when you realize that no one can do that, you can talk about anything, and it doesn't matter, because you can't be hurt unless you allow it. I told you, hey, who's here seeing me for the first time? Oh, there's a good handful. Okay, so the rest of y'all, pull out your phones and text somebody or something, just for a second. Just want to share this with the new folks for a second. A couple of years ago, I'm walking down through DC, Constitution Avenue, and a truck of guys drive by, and they call me a nigger as they're driving by. And granted, my first thought was, oh, I'm glad I don't have telekinetic abilities. Because I would have levitated the truck. But my immediate next thought was, Ray, you don't have those powers, so what's the next? Okay, I hear you, Spirit. Next best thing is pray. So I grounded myself and said, God is all there is. God has to be in that truck. These individuals who are God in human form don't know it. So I have to know it for them in this moment. And they drove on about their business, and I have no idea what happened with them. But I do know what happened with the people who saw this happen and felt. Some of these people were crying at seeing this. And they came up to, oh, we're so sorry. Are you? I'm like, I'm fine. How can you? And I explained. And I watched the light behind their eyes come on in a way that I know their lives were changed. Because there was something lit in them. There's always that fuse, that fire, that kindling. Something is always there. And it's waiting for a bonfire. And I'm not saying that I'm the one that created that boof, but I know I added to it because I saw them wipe tears away. I saw them smile. They said, thank you. Thank you for being strong enough to not let hate infect us or others. Thank you for being able to stand in a place where you were comfortable with who you are, to not let somebody else's words destroy you. But let's go back and remember, how often do we, through our own thinking, damage, hurt, and destroy our own selves? Tracy, my sister, was recently experiencing some health challenges, and some friends and whatnot are, so what disease does What do you mean, what dis-ease does Tracy? Why are you affirming Tracy is experiencing whatever it is that she's experiencing? But the manner in which we talk about things is a declaration of what we believe in. The moment I say, I have a cold, I have the flu, I don't want to catch the flu. And those of you who've seen me for a while, you remember what I said? Catch the, where's the flu? Where's it at? Where's it? There you go. Ha! I caught it. I caught the flu. Yay! Like, just the idea of that is ludicrous. Not the rapper, but the idea. It's ludicrous. But we talk about it that way. I caught A. I don't want to catch A. I have. The doctor said I have. The doctor said my mother has. The doctor said I will never be able to make a fist again. It looks like a fist to me, though. The other doctor for my knee surgery said your range of motion will be this, and that's all. And I'm not saying that it doesn't mean we're not going to still have physical challenges. What I'm saying is, despite the physical challenge, how do you talk about it? There's a commercial, and I don't remember what it's advertising, but it says, chances of becoming an Olympic athlete, and it shows a baby without limbs, with one arm, nothing beneath the knees, and nothing from the elbow down. And then you see the baby getting older, and you see the numbers. Chances are 1 in trillion, and you see these numbers spiraling down. 10 million, 8 million. Because now you see her as a little girl putting on a prosthetic, learning ballet. 5 million, 4 million. You see her now out on the snow, actually falling and getting back up. 100, 200, 50. You see the numbers drop. And then you see her out on the slope. And the numbers spiral and spiral. And then you see, and she's 1. What story are we telling? Because it's easy for, I can imagine for her, I have no arms, I have no legs, I can never ski. Why would I expect to be able to be an Olympic gold medalist? But the moment we allow ourselves to dream in the possibility of how great we are, that dream starts to move from spirit into form. And how many times, I'm sure many of you, if you're on Facebook, you've probably seen the little meme of the person with the pickaxe hacking and hacking, trying to get to the diamonds or the gold or whatever, and one of them stops and he turns around, and it's like, it's right there. Just one more hit and it would have been there. How many times do we, what's the point? I want to be an artist, but what's the point? I've been doing this for so long, but what's the point? Tracy knows that song very well because I used to sing it often. There's no point in me ever becoming a minister. No one's ever going to want to listen to me. Who's going to listen to me? Nobody. I've been doing this for how long? Year after year, class after class, day after day. For what? And yet, I never stopped. My father taught me one very important thing in all the time that he spent in jail. And when he finally got out and married my mother, they made me. And he would tell me all of these stories about what kept him sane. In these 28 and a half years, what kept him sane? Keep your mind active. When they locked me in solitary, I'm counting bricks. When they let me into the library, and he said, I read every book they had in the library. 28 and a half years, I guess you had time to read every book in the library. But he read every book in the library. He said every instrument that they offered, I learned how to play. I didn't play it well, but I learned how to play. Whether it was flute, bassoon, saxophone, piano, guitar, whatever they offered, keep your mind active. Are we doing similar things in keeping our mind active, in making sure that we are clothing ourselves with the garment of holiness, the garment of love, the garment of the I am, of the Christ consciousness? And one of the things I was going to say before was, when you reach that point of, but I want and I don't know how to get to, find someone. What was one of the things that was read in it? I am a mentor to others by the story that I tell. Find a minister, a prayer chaplain, a practitioner, a friend, someone who you believe can help you get through whatever that obstacle is. We are all going to face them, one way, shape, or form. It is part of what this human experience is. If everything in this experience was gumdrops, cotton candy, and daffodils, none of us would truly be happy. How many times have we spoken about or heard about the trust fund kids who have billions of dollars, but they squander it because they don't know what it means to have worked for it? When you work for your joy, your happiness, your magnificence, it becomes something more worthwhile. That when you really get it, the only thing you can do with it is share it. Because it's too magnificent to not share. You can't squander it. It's like, I know how magnificent and beautiful this is, and I have to give it to others. So I leave you with that idea of just marinate on, think about what it means to be great, to be good, to be God.